first round action brought to you live by the PDC Europe as we're coming to you from the MVM Dome here in Budapest, Hungary. It's time now to meet our next two players. Would you please welcome first from Bradford, England, the world number 17, competing in his 100th European Tour event, the winner of 11 PDC titles, a Premier League finalist, and a former Masters champion. Time to meet rockstar Joe Cullen. Budapest, are you ready for entertainment? Time to meet the winner of 48 PDC titles, a former UK Open, Masters and World Match Play champion, the reigning European champion, and a two-time champion of the
Well, it's a battle of two European Tour centurions. Joe Cullen reaches a ton. Man with the longest consecutive streak of appearances in the greatest tour in professional sport. Hasn't exactly had a great year, but for a final in Graz, where he was beaten by Luke Littler, who tended to beat most people on the European Tour this year, he's not had a huge amount to shout about. This is not a venue, but a city where he was won the European Tour. It's his last title, actually, a couple of years ago now, when he defeated Willie O'Connor at the Box Sport Arena. And he faces a tough assignment, far tougher than it would have been a couple of months ago. But Peter Wright seems to have found something, got back to his old self. He defeated Littler in one of the greatest and craziest European Tour finals you're ever likely to see in Hildesheim a few weeks ago, winning 6 consecutive legs to rattle off victory there. And even though it's been a below-par year by his very, very high standards, things could be getting back to where they belong as far as Peter Wright is concerned. Is Peter Wright going to continue this little purple patch, or is Joe Cullen going to find some inspiration this evening?
Well, the confidence has certainly returned, hasn't it, for Snakebite? Quite emotional en route to that victory on the Euro Tour. First Euro Tour title of 2024, coming on the 1st of September, and it was the win over Michael van Gerwen en route where he really looked spectacular. He couldn't hold back the tears after that victory. But a few things that were noticeable en route to that title. Yes, he looked very, very good, but his timing was impeccable. And he found himself behind in a leg. He'd come up with a really big score, apply pressure, take out some clutch finishes, and
140.
well, the big combination finishes in Hildesheim really were spectacular. Backed it up, of course, with a quarter-final run at the Flanders Darts Trophy. He really is rejuvenated. But as for Joe Cullen, well, his Grand Prix spot is looking a little iffy at the moment, isn't it? I wonder how much he's been looking at that over the last few weeks.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that results tonight have done him some favours, with defeats for Luke Woodhouse and Dirk van Dijvenbode and Brendan Dolan earlier this afternoon. But someone who's been a fixture of virtually all the TV tournaments in recent years, Joe Cullen has certainly got to win a few games in order to really guarantee his spot. He's not exactly made an ideal start to this. Peter Wright already looking to put the Cullen throw under pressure. Shanghai should be able to use that as a guide. Doesn't, although 128 is a tricky outshot.
128.
Treble 20 needed. Would have left the bullseye.
56. PD requires 60.
Miles away.
20.
And another one that was miles away.
Well, the group bid was there. Just nowhere near the target.
Always good to think positively. Joe Cullen wants double six. Very nearly bust. Oh, and he snuck that in over the top. Great dart from Joe Cullen. The other Joe in the crowd won't be too impressed by that.
You're in the market for some pointless information. I've got some for you. Peter Wright, gone all Christmassy already. He's got Grinch socks on today. As Joe Cullen does something far more relevant at the start of leg 2. He looks to get an early break in this one.
44.
Well, the way Peter Wright has started this game, he might be asking for new darts for Christmas. I think he's always asking for new darts.
57.
After he won his title in Hildesheim, we got the shuttle back to the hotel with him, and I was sat next to Peter, and I asked him, how many sets of darts do you reckon you own? And the answer was in the hundreds, if you classed 1,200 as an answer. Working out all right now, though, after a 180.
41.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what number would shock me there. Because even if he said something ludicrous like 1 million, I'm not sure I'd even be shocked.
100.
Played, didn't he, at times in Hildesheim with some of Simon Whitlock's darts. Actually looked really decent with them as well, actually.
137.
And then bin them off the following game.
96.
Who knows what he's thinking when it comes to darting apparel.
56.
Joe Cullen with a chance to break. There's a 21 darter in the first leg. This is much better. It's a 14 darter. Joe Cullen does break the throw.
Third leg, Joe to throw first.
First meeting between these two for over 2 years now. It was at the German Darts Open in Jena. Wright averaged a ton in beating Cullen in the semi-final there, but that was the year Cullen was in the Premier League. They played each other 5 times in that, en route to Joe reaching the final, and won 3 of them. Obviously no reason for Cullen to fear Peter Wright. No, he's in pretty good form right now.
Yeah, they met so many times, 32
60.
in total. Mentioned those victories for Cullen on the Premier League. Overall, he's won 8 of them. Peter Wright piles in his second maximum of this match, but to be critical of Joe Cullen this year, it has been so difficult to predict
140.
what form he's going to bring onto that stage, because he was decent enough at the German Darts Championship and getting the better of Max Hopp. Did enough in that one, but you just expected him to raise his level the next time out and just couldn't do that. Averaged below 80 against Dave Chisnall. Then played pretty
43.
decent at the Flanders Darts Trophy, lost out in the second round to Ryan Searle. It's just been hard to predict. There's been some really good stuff in there, but just not consistently enough.
Yeah, he was on the end of a ludicrously good display of finishing from Ryan Searle at 160, 161 and 164 in that game alone. As the winning dart went in, Joe Cullen's reaction was just to laugh. Won't be laughing here if Peter Wright breaks the throw back. And that's what Peter does, sneaks it into the bottom corner. There is something on the line for Peter Wright, because qualification for the big tournaments, he's going to be there. But he could become only the second player to reach double figures in terms of European Tours won, behind obviously Michael van Gerwen, whose record is never going to be surpassed, even with the 2 Lukes on the scene. There's too many good players now.
57. $60.
Yeah, you could see the angle of entry there for Peter Wright with his darts, and even though you can see they're all entering the board slightly differently there, it is such a huge improvement on the start of the year, where it was such a vast difference, wasn't it? And it was really hindering his game at that point. Nothing hindering his game in that visit. But it was that angle of entry in the first part of the year. It was really troubling.
Nothing troubling about 3 180s in 3 straight legs. Don't hit another one, Peter. Safe as houses.
$59. Peter, you require 40.
14 darter in the last leg. Could do the same, exactly the same route. Almost the same puncture mark.
Yeah, and the concerning thing for Joe Cullen, you can see
99.
it is 2 apiece, but Cullen's not had a dart at the outer ring in the last 2 legs. So clinical early on. But Peter Wright up in the scoring, and at the moment the rock star not able to go with him.
One of the issues that Cullen has had this year is that when he's
60.
lost matches, it's not unusual for him to average in the very low 80s and even 70s at times. And Joe Cullen is a player who a few years ago wasn't even close to doing that.
Yeah.
He was always a mid-90s player, at least.
100.
Not so long ago, he was #1 seed in these tournaments.
Yeah, when Joe Cullen is firing on all cylinders, he is one of the most enjoyable, the most exciting to watch in this game. He was agonisingly close to winning the Premier League just 2 years ago. That's how good he is.
Bring the bullseye into play, and does.
105.
He is having to battle, having to grind results out more than ever before, really having to dig deep, isn't he, for everything he achieves at the moment.
Yeah, he was superb in Graz and just saved his worst performance for the final. Double 18. Lose double 12. Joe Cullen pins it. Just wrestles control of the game again. Been some good mid-range finishing from Cullen in this game. 72, 86 and 97.
121.
That scoring power, though, that has always been such a weapon in his career, it's not been there this evening, but he's doing enough.
48.
I can't even begin to imagine what it must be like when you are a player with the skill, with the talent that Joe Cullen has.
100.
For it to just disappear and to have to fight so hard to get it back.
81.
But you do feel, as you said, he is currently 14th in that race for the Grand Prix with a bit of a buffer. If he were to miss out on that, that would sting.
100. 96.
Win here would lift him above both Mark Decker and James Wade, although Wade is still in the tournament following his win against Lucas Venig earlier this afternoon. Looking at the Grand Prix, everyone from Cameron Menzies above is safe, you think.
And you'd probably, just because it's James Wade, say that he probably is as well, because as we saw with the match play, even if he's just outside, he's probably going to get there. But is Peter Wright going to get this to level us up yet again? And he's no longer exclusively dealing in 14 dart legs, Peter Wright. And unfortunately for him, he's not dealing in 15s either.
Not dealing exclusively in double 10 either. Another one of those would have left double 14.
$78.
Well, went for the ball with 66 remaining. Peter Wright back on the double 10 tray.
$131.
Winner of this plays Damon Hetter, who's the number 8 seed.
140.
It's that really tricky top quarter of the draw where the other game tonight that's to be played in that is Michael Smith v Johnny Clayton, and then you've got Dave Chisnell, you've got Ryan Searle, you've got Alberto Bejian. He could spring a surprise.
I think he'll spring a few of those with his demeanour on the stage.
Yeah, not his darts.
But as you could just see there with the stats that came up on screen, quite a lot of difference in the first 9 averages in particular. It's still level, but it's largely because Joe Cullen, he's won 3 legs in this match. He's not had any darts at double in the legs that he's lost.
64.
Once again, it's a smart use of the bullseye to leave a 2-darter. Oh, it was begging to be followed up.
100. You require 98.
Disappointing ton, you'd say. Great at it or split? Well, he has unintentionally
82.
split, but big save 3 leaves double 8.
57.
Be expecting to come back, but Peter Wright's 3-figure outs have been spectacular over recent weeks. Not going to add a 157 here.
100. You require 16.
Steps back because he knows that wasn't a very good attempt at double 8. That was much better.
Joker.
Well, Cullen Shows for the first time in the game a bit of emotion, a bit of a fist pump. As mentioned already, Peter Wright won in Hildesheim a few weeks ago, and then the following week he was stopped by Dave Chisnell, and he said himself that Peter let him off because he had to perform a comeback.
57.
Opted not to play in the Pro Tours this week as well, and you don't often see Wright skipping events, but
45.
everyone's got to manage their workload somehow.
And it is a particularly hectic time of the year, isn't it? I mean, he missed those events this week. He's got another opportunity to play on the floor this coming week. So I think it's the sensible thing to do when it's this jam-packed a schedule. As Joe Cullen looks to make himself a little bit more comfortable in this match. I know Peter Wright has just become a granddad again, the little Cody, so that may have had something to do with his decision making.
64.
Two darts at double A. Up for double four.
60.
And that was a way off, and Joe Cullen has a great chance to break the throw and go within a leg.
He's made a little bit of a mess of that. Managed to work in off that one. I didn't know how awkward it might be, but didn't prove to be awkward at all for Peter Wright. He's back on level terms.
58.
And they're two players in a situation like this at the moment. A few months ago, it probably wouldn't have been that different for these two in terms of the confidence and recent experience they can draw on in such a tight and tense situation. But Peter Wright, with that win in Hildesheim and the way he's followed it up, you just feel that he's got more positive recent experience to draw on maybe than Joe Cullen right now.
140.
Aside from that final in Graz, Cullen did make a Pro Tour final at the middle part of last month. Lost out to Josh Rock.
97.
And you could see in that final, couldn't you, how desperate he was to pick up another title. There have been plenty of encouraging signs for Joe Cullen over recent months, but you do feel that title would make all the difference.
140. Did you require 121?
140 could be big if Peter Wright lets him back to the board, which he might not do because he wants the bullseye.
96.
How close was that to a critical break of throw? Treble 18.
42. Did you require
Well,
25?
I think he went for double 18 to leave double 16. Made a mess of it. 25 left for Peter Wright. That was a bit close to the treble. He's had success on double 10, not on this occasion, and not on double 5 either.
Joe, you require 64.
Well, I mentioned that Peter Wright is wearing Grinch socks. He is handing out the Christmas gifts early, isn't he, to Joe Cullen in this match? Can he take this one?
24.
And you could see and hear the frustration there for Joe Cullen.
5.
Opportunities continue to come, but for how much longer?
One.
He's going to get more.
Joe, you require 40.
But for all the good stuff we've seen in this match, Been some really tight and tense moments. You could see Peter Wright berating himself. And eventually, Joe Cullen, in 20 darts, does make snakebite pay. But it was all Peter Wright's own undoing there.
He'll feel like a lucky boy, Joe Cullen.
100.
Great shot over the shoulder, planting that double 10 in. Joe Cullen's
60.
averaging 7 points less than Peter Wright. The scoring has been way off compared to snakebite. But you mentioned at the start, Abby, about Peter Wright's timing recently. Joe Cullen's timing's been pretty good. He's been better on the outer ring by quite a way.
Nothing is coming easy for Joe Cullen early on in legs. He's doing really well to stay in control of his emotions and not get too frustrated in this one.
Well, an 11 darter would really ratchet the pressure up on Cullen. Double 12. Double 6. Peter Wright sends us all the way.
Peter Wright. 11th and final leg.
There's the face of a man who doesn't get paid on a leg-by-leg basis.
Don't think anyone would be left in a job if he were.
134.
And that's a really decent start to this decider from the rock star.
Peter Wright is a world champion for many reasons, and one of them being he can pounce on the weakness of opponents.
100.
Decent start to the leg for Cullen, but Peter Wright come back and land a haymaker.
It's in the balance at the moment, this one. Joe Cullen's produced some really good stuff in this match. In other moments, he's really had to ride his luck.
Oh, is he going to set up another potential 11 darter? Of course he is.
Is it going to be back-to-back 81 checkouts?
28.
The snakebite to get over the line. Same target wanted, double 12. Having to shuffle across slightly. But he manages to pin it, Peter Wright, to break Joe Cullen in that decider. He scored the heavier for the majority of that match, but missed darts at double at crucial times. Looked like they might punish snakebite Peter Wright, but yet again, just like in Hildesheim, just when he needed it,